Welcome to Christian Men Unscripted. I'm John Harney. That's Alan Underwood. He's also here if you're just listening. But if you're on the, what do you call it? Well, you can watch it on the TV, on the tubes.
YouTube. You can watch it on Spotify as well.
Oh, okay. Hey, by the way.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, we did get some good recognition.
We got podcast of the year, greatest podcast ever. Award.
Right behind Joe Rogan.
You know what we did get though? Here's the thing. It's funny. We got notified by that was Spotify, right?
Yeah.
That we're in the top, whatever 90-something percentile. Basically, what it is good job hanging in there because there are thousands of new podcasts and they mostly always suck and fall apart. And you guys actually have had experienced growth.
With it. Yeah, we did it. We experienced a lot of growth this year on Spotify, especially.
Yeah,
not YouTube.
No, YouTube. I was telling my wife this. You guys, by the way, welcome back to the podcast here.
Yeah, share, like. Put it out there for us.
But it is funny because, I know I was telling this to my wife that, it kind of frustrates Alan because our YouTube numbers go really wildly up and down. Like sometimes barely anybody watches and then a bunch. But Spotify, podcasts, those stay pretty consistent, the listening stuff. And so, and that's good. And we got that recognition that, hey, you guys are hanging in there. Way to be in like the top last 7% of survivors for the year.
You guys are stuck with it.
And so that's good.
Nobody listens or watches, but you guys are still doing it.
You guys are still doing it, and we're glad you are.
No, we ended up growing a lot on Spotify. Apple's always been our number one. But
we need to come up with more shorts because those are the thing where
you get like
thousands of views on random shorts.
I get busy watching Netflix, and Stranger Things is out, so
I haven't watched the new one yet.
And
now it's been done for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
How is it?
It's all right. I got tired of it.
We're a Christian podcast, and that's probably about as evil of a show that's out there, right? I'm just being honest. It probably is. I don't know how much redeeming quality there is in it, but I loved the first season. I'm just going to be honest. I loved it because of the 80s Goonies feel.
Yeah.
After that, I like it. I'm invested. I can't wait to watch the rest of it.
Yeah.
Just because I guess I got to know the ending.
Yeah.
But like after the first season, they got great characters, great writing, great acting. They really do.
Yeah.
First season, though, it was nostalgic feeling. I just loved it.
The music, everything.
All of it.
The look.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm invested on. And so I haven't watched it yet. The newest last one.
Yeah, I kind of like that creepy feel that they switched to. But, I like, as we've discussed, I like horror movies, which people say as a Christian maybe you shouldn't like. But, hey, it's entertainment to me. It's not anything that I... Like, I've had people tell me, like, you can't watch certain things because you'll be...
demonically influenced?
Yeah, I'm like, no.
Well, I turn them off and I've seen it in your eyes.
I just turn it off and I go to bed.
If you're a Christian and you're listening or watching, pray for Alan. He's under heavy demon influence constantly.
Negative. I'm not worried about demons. You know why? Because I'm a Christian.
He stares all weird. He stares all weird at the upside down.
Anyway, what we're going to talk about?
Well, we're talking about
Let's talk about our faith. This is a Christian podcast, not
it is. And
here's things.
Well, actually, let's talk about this for a minute. You brought it up. I don't know why we did, but let's just we had no plan. Let's talk about it then. I like this thought. You see, because the Apostle Paul, and I believe I know it's in Corinthians that he mentions it. Forgive me. Do your own Bible study. Be a noble-minded Berean and find where he talks about this. But he says, hey, it's no big deal. Eat what you want, drink what you want. If you go to somebody's house, there are several points in the Bible, by the way, in the New Testament that talk about this. Jesus taught this, Timothy. You see some spaces where it says, like, hey, man, it's no big deal. However, what I mean by this, where he says, hey, meat sacrificed to an idol is just meat. Like, the idol isn't even real. Like, Who cares? You're fine. Don't freak out. Peter, you're trying to be a religious, devout Jew. You're a believer in Jesus. Don't freak out. You can eat unclean food. Paul rebukes him because all of a sudden other Jewish people come, Jewish Christians, and he acts all legalistic again. He's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have that. To your point, you can watch a horror movie and it doesn't affect you. You're a believer in Jesus. You know God's got you.
Yeah.
If it's like, a lot of nudity, a lot of violence, you probably shouldn't be watching that. So you probably should turn that off, and maybe you do, and maybe you change. Or maybe, hey, man, right. And but you're also like, you know what? I'm not like all lusting after this. I just find it entertaining, like dumb entertainment, because I'm a Christian and I'm solid. Okay. The flip side to that is there another believer, maybe an immature believer, and the Apostle Paul will point this out, and there is a time where you're like, hey, man, no, you don't want to commune. I think it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 10 or 11 or 12, somewhere in there where he talks about eating the food sacrificed to idols and stuff. You don't want to, if the heart is, because the people's heart in that situation is, man, we really are all in on this idol, on this demon that we're, and so you actually don't want to eat or commune in that because it is bad. Right. And more importantly, it could definitely cause harm to a new believer. Like, so you could watch that, but you can't have some new young couple that just joined the church. Guys, come on over.
We're not going to have a watch party.
We're watching the worst horror movies of all time. Because you're going to damage their walk. It's going to damage their view of you. So there is a balance to all that stuff.
Yeah, there's a balance. I was thinking about that today with, I used to watch South Park all the time, especially when we were working, we watch it. And it was not the most appropriate show, but it wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
It's gone off the rails now. Like, even, I'm not a prude by any means, but I'm like, this is crazy. This is you can't just, it's so dumb.
It's always been pretty bad, but you're right.
It's gone way far. And
yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can't even deal with it, how bad it is. And I'm not the old McCrudgeon, whatever. How was the word? Get off my lawn guy. But I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I don't do that. But I mean, when it comes to horror movies, I don't watch a lot of nudity shows. I don't watch any of that. But I like the old school slasher ones.
It's funny, dude. I kind of get it. I'm not a big horror fan, but there are some that I do. I get what you're saying because they're entertaining, you know?
Yep.
But I could say the same thing just because it's a horror genre, which the new horror genre, though, there is a lot of very demonic and, evil stuff, bro. It really is. Some of it is just straight horribly evil.
Yeah.
But I can't, that whole, when people want to play levels of sinfulness or levels of, what do you call that?
Levels of Christianity as well. I mean, I have people who I'm like, okay, you come across as this holier than thou person, but I know the real you. I mean, we're not perfect, so stop acting like you're perfect.
Well, the same guy that's like, you can't be watching horror movies. That's really bad. He'll be watching whatever he watches on TV or whatever, and all he can't wait for is the next bikini commercial or the next nude scene or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're watching evil, demonic stuff. I'm secretly lusting after whatever. Like, we all have issues. We all have. I hate to use the word secret sins. But maybe that's the best way to put it, because we all have those sins that we struggle with that it's good to get out maybe if you're in a men's group.
I don't mind talking about any sins that I've done.
So maybe it's a good thing as among men especially, like hey man, as a guys we can share, or maybe among the ladies can share. Because again, it goes back to, if there are people within your church that they're on a brand new spiritual journey and you're just like the guy who's like, oh man, guys, I struggle with porn. I just struggled with it last night. It was awful. Couldn't change the channel for half an hour. I finally did. Whatever. I know I'm kind of being extreme.
No, you're not. I would like to dive into that actually.
Well, some people will find that refreshing. The honesty is good. They're at that space and that place in their walk. Yeah. They need to hear it.
Yeah.
They need to know, like, give yourself some grace, but know it's wrong. We all are a work in progress. But some people, they're going to be like, I got to run from this. I can't be around this guy at all. Like, he's crazy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Like,
we've had people ask us to talk about that, like with the sins, and we stay away from it, pornography, but I don't care about it. I used to watch pornography like it was like no big deal. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you guys, when it comes to sin, like horror movies, I don't feel like they're sinful, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
By the way,
anyway,
we can
pornography,
we'll broach that a little.
I know when it comes to pornography and lust that's wrong, and that I shouldn't be looking at it. And I have blocks on my phone. I have people who even Seth. I was talking to Seth. I'm like, hey, be one of the people who make sure you know with my phone. Yep. Actually, I got a new phone, so I might have to double check on that.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't want to double check on it. I just leave it. Hopefully, it's working. But anyway, I would probably fall back into those habits because as a man who did not think anything of pornography when I was younger. Even in the police department, we talked about it all the time, joked about it, and it was not a big deal. Even my wife knew. She was like, okay, well, we didn't know. We're like, okay. Yeah. But as a Christian, I was like, okay, this is wrong. I can't do this. I have to have these blocks. And I guarantee there's people in the church who struggle with it and will keep it a secret. And they don't need to keep it a secret. Young men who probably struggle with it and keep it a secret. Don't keep it a secret. Have accountability people that you're accountable to. I don't like falling into it, but I would fall into it in a heartbeat if I'm home by myself, just going to the gym or doing whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna look at porn.
Yeah.
So I keep blocks on my phone. I have people hold me accountable, and it's not even hardcore pornography. You could get caught up in it on Instagram, which I have.
Yeah.
Because you'll look at one thing for too long, and then the next thing you're getting is all these feeds with half naked women, and it's like those things you can fall into. And I fell into it last year with the Instagram and social media, which I hate social media, but I'm not telling you I'm some perfect guy. And anybody who sits there and goes, no, I'm perfect. I don't have this. They're full of it, and you're afraid to talk about it. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I'll talk about it on air.
Dude,
if I can help somebody else who struggles with pornography, stop it. Find somebody to hold you accountable. Put the blocks on your phone. Have somebody be able to look at your phone and know what you're looking at.
Dude, I love it. By the way, for our maybe our Bible scholars out there, or people who are on a journey where they're constantly reading their Bible and they want to know, like, where does this come from biblically? What you just described is actually what James chapter 5, verses 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there, by the way, principally and applicably is what he is explaining. He's explaining in context. Hey, there's the church. He's probably, just so you know, that James, he's Jesus' half-brother. I say that because, of course, Jesus was Immaculate Conception. James, Joseph, and Mary are his parents. And so he's the younger brother of Jesus who didn't believe in Jesus, who finally did believe in Jesus as the Messiah once he saw him killed and resurrected. And now he's writing...
Anybody would.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's writing to the very early church, likely in response, because now he's all in. He's he's a Jewish Christian who's like really all into now Old, New Testament, the Sermon on the Mount. Right. He loves everything his brother taught. That's actually the book of James in the Bible is really a letter that he's almost focusing in on the Sermon on the Mount and on wisdom literature. Okay. He's likely responding to maybe questions from early Christian churches. And so he's like, hey, guys, don't do this, do this. You know, this, they always say it's kind of a book of works. It's really him responding to Christians asking things probably. And so when I say probably highly, very, very, very likely based on all of context, all this. James chapter 5, verse 15, 16, 17, please forgive me, I don't know exactly, but in the context there, he's basically saying, hey, this guy who's sick, if it's because of sin, because they're like, hey, some guy is sick, he's maybe causing problems. If it's because of sin, then he needs to be confessional before God, 1 John 1:9, agree with God it's sin, have a contrite heart, no intention of continuing to do it, but also call the elders for prayer, make sure they know about it so that they can be prayerful. And then he says, and then also confess to each other. Now, people are like, well, does that mean I go just to my private bishop, my secret sins? Does that mean I go to a booth with a priest? No. What he's saying is, among each other, if you've wronged each other, make sure you clear the air. But also something like that, like you struggle, let's openly and honestly, you're saying, okay, I will struggle with pornography. I can fall into it. If you know that's your struggle and it's going to cause problems in your faith walk, your family, your church, your representation of Jesus, you need to confess it before God and with elders of the church. In other words, people who are mature, spiritually mature, they're in ministry, and your close Christian friends who know truth for exactly what you just described. I just wanted to share that. That's biblical. Yeah. That's literally what James is saying. Yes, clear the air so your prayers are not impeded. Get people involved to pray for and with you, to identify with you, to help you. Yeah. We all need that, dude. Every one of us does, by the way. And that's actually principally, you're talking about it. I wanted people to hear, we've talked, we're not really a teaching ministry per se, but I want people to know that is truth and that is biblical truth. Yeah. So. And I feel like some people, like you say secret sin, I think we should keep everything out 100 with our community. Like we talked about it last night. Yeah. Abide and then share, connect in community, and community is part of it. And I feel like some people are hesitant to do that, but if you have people you're close to, I don't mind talking to you. I don't even mind talking to the hundreds of people that follow us when it comes to these things. If I can help somebody else out, these are things we as Christians we cannot do. We will struggle with it. You probably still struggle with it, but there's ways around it. There's things that you can do. And like the Bible says, he will not give you anything that you can't, give me the words, Pastor. Well, okay. God will not give you anything that you can't handle, basically. You know the saying. Yeah, but it's a saying here. Let me share with you about this one. Go ahead. God will genuinely actually give you more than you can handle so that you'll rely on his strength. In other words, it's never more than you can handle. Because, yes, you can't handle it, but God can. Right. So he will give you more than you can handle. The intent is to cause you to rely on him. Right. And he'll handle it. That's the key, right? Yes. Because what will happen is you'll want to fall into sin, and you go, okay, I don't need God. I can do it on my own. And then but then you keep doing it. That's right. You keep doing it over and over. And I know, I see it on the news. I see pastors that fall into it. The lust is probably one of the biggest ones when it comes to men. Yep. I would think. Yep. Yep. Because we're men. No, I'm telling you, but for sure. It's probably the most secret one. Well, lusts of a lot, right? Physical and sexual lust, approbation lust, which is like arrogance and wanting to be bigger than you are, wanting to be the center of attention. So lust is and money lust and stuff. But you're right, sexual lust, sexual sin. That's the one I'm thinking of. That's the one that everybody's ashamed of to keep secret. That's correct. And if we could just get it out in the open and go, hey, look, as men, we need to stop doing that. Well, it's our friend Seth who brought this up maybe a year ago or something when we were talking about both heterosexuality and homosexuality, same-sex attraction, just sexual attraction. We have a natural God-given gift of sexual attraction for procreation, actually even more than that. It's not just for procreation. It really is so that you can express like this euphoric sense of love, physical love, and emotional and soulful love between a man and a woman in the context of marriage, okay? But part of our hormonal and sexual drives really have been perverted since the fall. Right. And so the fall of mankind, the sin nature, the perversion of Satan and satanic influence, our own temptations, natural, God-given desires, such as sexuality, have been perverted big time for thousands of years in humanity. And that includes our, pop culture and everything else.
And then pornography will pervert it too, because it's not real.
Big, and it makes it even worse.
Yeah, worse.
And it literally, studies have shown it's as addictive as heroin.
That dopamine.
My background is like drug stuff, right? Back in the day before I did
homicide,
I
did a lot of drugs.
narcotics.
Oh, no, you worked with drugs. Okay.
And I did a lot of drugs in my day. No, but working undercover narcotics, working those and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of interviews with addicts, whether it's meth, heroin, hundreds and hundreds of interviews. And I very intently, my interest when I got to interview some of these folks when we would finally arrest them or whatever, I always wanted to know, why did you do it? Like, what started and where's your heart at and why and what decisions and what does it feel like? I was the guy. I like that.
I do too. I was curious. You're always curious.
And inevitably it was either I was depressed or I was lonely or I was too hyper. I couldn't focus. And so I started smoking weed. By the way, 100% of addicts of any drug started with weed. I don't care what, I can argue that point. I'm telling, because I have personal experience, hundreds and to including looking over dead bodies of human beings who overdosed with drugs. So I knew, whatever context from they were being informants or whatever, that I knew their story because I talked to them about it.
Yeah.
But when I started asking, like, why this drug, why that drug, it's that euphoric, that hit, that feeling. It's always, And pornography does the same exact thing. It's a total escape.
Yeah.
By the way, that almost makes it sound good, right? Well, here's the point.
Yeah.
God actually has something so much better for you. You can get a better sense because it's a more pure and clean sense to accept his love for you, to see that you're created for greatness, and then to be used as his hands and feet. Like, think about, you're going to go to Thailand and you're going to, it's not the exact same because that's such a different feeling, but it's a better sense.
Right. I know exactly what you're saying. To replace those things. That's the thing. I try to replace, but then again, like if you replace those things.
Not as a substitute, but as a lifestyle.
That's the key. The lifestyle. And because I find myself substituting with food.
Okay. Yeah.
With going to the gym.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Where's the balance? It's also, obviously, it's better for you.
Yeah.
You're healthier, but it's also can be unhealthy when you do.
So
there's
people who go to the gym can make it an unhealthy thing.
And it's always that dopamine hit. It's like, okay, I need to eat these sweets. I need to have this beer. I need to look at my phone. Even if you're not looking at porn, you could just sit there and scroll your phone. And I catch myself doing that over and over, and that's that dopamine hit. Yeah. So there's got to be a balance. And my wife and I were talking about it. When we came back from Hawaii a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about it. Like, I always tell her, I want to be the same person when I'm with other people than I am at home. And she's like, well, you're not. I go, what do you mean? She goes, no, you can sit there on your phone and not talk to me, but when we're out with people, you can talk. Yeah. I go, well, it's because I'm comfortable with you. I go, okay, I want to be better with that. I want to put my phone up. I want to engage with you more. I want to be that. And then when we got back, I didn't, because then I just watched the Browns game and scored on my phone. But I'm trying to get better at it because I do love my wife. I want to do what's right by her and my family. But, you can say it. It's like I've told you several times. Lip service is one thing. Don't say you're going to do it. Just do it. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah. Get that balance in your life. Stop looking at pornography. Stop scrolling on your phone. Stop overeating. Stop drinking beer. It's easy said and done, but those are little things that you can start changing as your walk with Christ. And as we talked about a couple of weeks ago about, resolutions per se, have that relationship with the Lord and you'll want to do better.
Well, dude, okay. Do you remember years ago there was a book? It's been a lot of years.
If it's a book, I don't remember.
I don't know why it has stuck in my head. There was a book. It was called like This, Not That, or something like that, and it was a diet book. Okay, well,
a diet book?
Okay, it was sort of like this. I don't remember, and believe me, forgive me. It's probably not even the title of the book, but it was popular. I believe they've had several revisions, but it's very old. But I remember when it came out, and the few things that my takeaway. Mm-hmm. One was, hey, if you want a cheeseburger, get In-N-Out instead of, let's say, Burger King. I don't remember because one has, and it was like one is fresh, one has more higher protein, less fat, less saturated fats. So if you have to have it, go for this one. And one of them was like, get Taco Bell instead of, tacos from Jack in the Box or whatever it was. I'm not trying to bash all these places. They're all great, whatever.
They're all great.
But I literally
talk about food.
and one of them was Dairy Queen. Get a Dairy Queen soft serve instead of Haagen-Dazs, whatever, and it was because it's lower calories, right?
Getting hungry.
I know, me too. So, but the point is, they were pointing out that you have this, like, you're hungry and you have a craving, and rather than completely deprive yourself, because then you're going to binge and you're going to go bad anyways, just eat this one instead of that one. Right. Okay, that was the type of book. I have used that years ago in talking to, say, same-sex attraction or whatever, people like who I know are just loving and awesome and but struggling and know, like, hey, I can't live in this lifestyle based on sin. Mm-hmm. And I kind of had to share, like, I don't think you just pray the problem away. God, by the way, is capable. Of course, you can pray the problem away. That between you and God, God alone is capable of doing the healing. Going back to James chapter 5, it's also a picture of God does the healing. However, yes, but at the same time, if you are that person and you struggle with pornography, wanting to be on your phone, wanting to just scroll all day, that's this. Instead, do that. And maybe that is, you know what? If I sit here and open up a Bible app and maybe I can read a verse or two, but I just don't have the attention span. Guys, I'm not trying to say you can just constantly read your Bible and be...
Right.
But maybe you need to get up and go for a walk. Maybe you need to get up and go to the gym. Maybe you do need to get up and replace it with something, some social... You may have to. Of course, go on a prayer walk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there is a this and that thing. You have to... I think you need to pray. You need to prayerfully approach things with an intent of replacing... the idle hands and replacing the idle mind with something of better.
Yeah, better. And,
redemptive value.
100%. And the society today is different, too, than when we were growing up. Because as kids, we were out and about riding our bikes and coming in late. And we went to dinner, my wife and I, for her birthday, and we went to one of those hibachi grills.
Yeah.
And you sit at a table with other people, and I've seen some kids, and the funny thing is I got two examples of this, too. There was a kid over here on her iPad, younger. Obviously, you want your kids to be quiet while you have dinner, and it's in a somewhat nice place. It's casual, but it's not fancy, but it's not fancy. It's not a Red Robin, per se. Which, when I had kids, I'd go to Red Robin because they could be loud in there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I was trying to say, because I do like Red Robin.
Yeah.
But,
unlimited fries. Yeah.
And they got the headphones on, they're playing games on their iPad, and I was like, can't you just have your kids come and enjoy the dinner and talk with your family? Because it wasn't a baby.
Yeah.
And then I looked over here at this other kid who was at another table, at our table, but on the opposite side. And I haven't seen this in a long time. Was with the waiter brought him crayons and a thing to color.
Yes.
And I was like, that's totally different than being on an iPad.
Yeah,
this kid is being. I mean, it's the same, different. I don't know, but I just thought it was.
It requires intentional creativity.
Yes. And I thought it was interesting. And I didn't even share that with my wife, but in my head when I was watching, I was like, we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
And these kids get these dopamine hits from their iPads.
And they are so conditioned their whole lives for it now.
And and I think my wife is having problems with kids at school that they literally, she has to evacuate her class while the counselors come in and take a kid out of class as they chase them around, because they can't sit still without having a computer screen in front of them. Just like when, that's why pornography is so accessible now on these phones, on these computers, that it's not a big deal for people to just get addicted to it.
Dude, you are bringing up a very deep topic, by the way. We can start talking about neural pathways and neurological plasticity and all these other things.
I don't want to talk about that. I just want to talk about what society's been.
Well, because neuroscience is actually only in the last several decades proving exactly what the Bible has been talking about for thousands of years. The Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, renewing your mind according to Christ, all these things. And so neuroscience has pointed that out, that the more you do that, the more you get those dopamine hits, it's like ruts in your brain, the easier it is to go to that. That's where you get your peace. That's where you get your sense of well-being. Right. And it's actually pornography or whatever it is that kids have in front of them. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I know we're going to wrap up soon.
Yeah.
You mentioned the horror. Let's go back real fast.
To horror movies?
Yep. Here's why. I just don't want, because I want to close on something. I had to, if you're a watcher, you'll see I got on my phone from it. I just want to confirm the word and stuff, because sometimes my mind is all over the place. This word hamartia, Hamartia. Okay. It comes from kind of this Greek concept of missing the mark. This is basically, again, guys, I'm paraphrasing, I'm butchering it all, but so don't crucify me over this one. But basically, that's where we get our word sin from, our biblical word for sin. Sin means missing the mark. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said, I don't know if it's sinning because I'm watching a thing. I'm not, bro. You keep watch your horror movies, right? However, here's the point of sin, and I'm gonna leave it on this. We're not going to debate this. I'm leaving it for everybody.
Okay.
I'm not saying you're sinning, not sinning. What I'm saying is the concept of sin.
You calling me bad?
You sinner.
Son of a gun.
We're all sinners.
Yep.
But the concept, because I shared this weeks and weeks ago with someone I went down a really deep rabbit hole on it. The concept is even bigger than just it misses the mark. I've always shared, it's kind of like, picture like an archery, a bullseye.
Yep.
And so you pull back your arrow, you loose the arrow, and you want the bullseye. Anything not a bullseye is missing the mark. Anything not the bullseye is sin. Okay. But it's more than that. Sin in our individual lives, according to the biblical concept and standard, is God wants perfection for you, but it's His perfection. He wants you to be obedient to His glory, for our benefit. And everything that's not according to perfectly what He wants is definitely sin, like it's not that. But He gives us so much grace, and not everything is. I'm not trying to get all weird on this. But it's bigger than just the missing the mark. It's actually after conceptually, remember the Olympic Games came from ancient Greece and stuff. So when you're starting to talk about this hamartia, this sense of what is sin, it's not just that, especially if you're a believer in Jesus, because if you don't believe in Jesus, sin is the reason why you'll end up in hell, because we all have sin. We're all not perfect. God is perfect. Perfection can't commingle with imperfection, and so you need the blood of Jesus to cover over you. You need that which you accept by faith. Once you're a believer, now God says, I have rewards for you in heaven. Now, as you sin, whatever it is what you're doing, is what you're actively engaged in, is it going to help you to win the prize? Look, you're saved by grace. You're a sinner, you're saved by grace. Faith alone in Christ alone, apart from any all works. I will argue that point all day long. Ephesians 2:8-9, you accept Christ by faith, and God has the very best for you. But if you're wanting like rewards, you are called to be obedient and do things. The picture of sin is more than that. It's almost like when we watch the Olympics. I think Winter Olympics are starting. When you watch the Olympics, let's say it's archery. The archer, wants to hit the bullseye because they know after the bullseye, they'll be on the podium getting the gold medal and getting the wreath and all the awards and the accolades. God gets all the glory, but he's so awesome that he lets us experience glory. It's his glory in and through us. And he says, so that's why you want to hit the mark. It's not just to hit the mark. It's because after you get to kind of be part of this glorious revelation of God in and through you. That's why. Okay, I'm just leaving it at that. The concept of sin, that's what that is. And so arguably, all I'm saying is does that get you the gold medal and on the podium or not? I mean, I guess if you want to, but people will get super legalistic, and then they drive us all nuts and want to punch them in the throat because they're like, I won't watch SpongeBob because it's like, dude, you know what I mean? I get it. Yeah, you're right.
There's a balance.
But ease up a little. But I just want to, so you know what it is. That's
bottom line is don't sin.
You're not supposed to, but thank God for God's grace and mercy.
No, I agree. We shouldn't, and we need to work hard each and every day. But I also want men to know that if you're struggling with sin, pornography in general, don't keep it a secret. Don't hide it. Put it out there. Somebody you can rely on. Get blocks on your phone.
The best Christian who's loving and kind, or the best Christian counselor.
I pay yearly to keep them on my phone. Yep. And my wife is one of them, and a couple other guys. And I'll even add you, John, so you can see what I'm looking at. You'll be like, this guy's boring. Anyway.
There you go. Great. Guys, accountability matters. Find the right accountability partners, especially within your church. Find the elders of the church. That's what James is talking about. Have them pray with you, over you. It's out there, guys. Good Christian counseling. Yeah,
we all sin.
Is good.
We all
give yourself
sin,
some grace. That's right. Give yourself some grace. You don't have to. Don't be so hard on yourself. But thank you, man. That's great.
Yep. All right.
Be blessed.
Yep.
Eric